And it came to pass after Saul was dead, that David returned from smiting Amalek, and David abode 2 days in Ziklag. And it came to pass on the 3rd day, that, behold, a man came from the camp, from the people of Saul, and his garments were rent, and earth was upon his head, and it came to pass when he went into David, that he fell upon the earth, and did obeisance to him. And David said to him, Whence comest thou? And he said to him, I have escaped out of the camp of Israel. And David said to him, What is the matter? Tell me. And he said, The people fled out of the battle, and many of the people have fallen and are dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead. And David said to the young man who brought him the tidings, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son are dead? And the young man that brought the tidings said to him, I happened accidentally to be upon Mount Jelbu, and, behold, Saul was leaning upon his spear, and, behold, the chariots and captains of horse pressed hard upon him. And he looked behind him, and saw me, and called me, and I said, Behold, here am I. And he said to me, Who art thou? And I said, I am an Amalekite. And he said to me, Stand, I pray thee, over me, and slay me, for a dreadful darkness has come upon me, for all my life is in me. So I stood over him and slew him, because I knew he would not live after he was fallen, and I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was upon his arm, and I have brought them hither to my lord. And David laid hold of his garments, and rent them, and all the men who were with him rent their garments. And they lamented, and wept, and fasted till evening, for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of Judah, and for the house of Israel, because they were smitten with the sword. And David said to the young man who brought the tidings to him, Whence art thou? And he said, I am the son of an Amalekite sojourner. And David said to him, How was it thou wast not afraid to lift thy hand to destroy the anointed of the Lord? And David called one of his young men, and said, Go and fall upon him, and he smote him, and he died. And David said to him, Thy blood be upon thine own head, for thy mouth has testified against thee, saying, I have slain the anointed of the Lord. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. And he gave orders to teach it the sons of Judah, Behold, it is written in the book of right. Set up a pillar, O Israel, for the slain that died upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Geth, and tell it not as glad tidings in the streets of Askelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Jelbu, let not dew nor rain descend upon you, nor fields of first fruits be upon you, for there the shield of the mighty ones has been grievously assailed. The shield of Saul was not anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, and from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan returned not empty, and the sword of Saul turned not back empty. Saul and Jonathan, the beloved and the beautiful, were not divided. Comely were they in their life, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, and they were stronger than lions. Daughters of Israel, weep for Saul, who clothed you with scarlet together with your adorning, who added golden ornaments to your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, even the slain ones upon thy high places. I am grieved for thee, my brother Jonathan. Thou wast very lovely to me. Thy love to me was wonderful beyond the love of woman. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into one of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said to him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, To Shebron. And David went up thither to Shebron, he and both his wives, Achinom the Jezreelitess, and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the men that were with him, every one and his family, and they dwelt in the cities of Shebron. And the men of Judea come, and anoint David there to reign over the house of Judah, and they reported to David, saying, The men of Jabes of the country of Galilee have buried Saul. And David sent messengers to the rulers of Jabes of the country of Galilee, and David said to them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, because ye have wrought this mercy toward your Lord, even toward Saul the anointed of the Lord, and ye have buried him in Jonathan his son. And now may the Lord deal in mercy and truth towards you, and I also will requite towards you this good deed, because ye have done this. And now let your hands be made strong, and be valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and moreover the house of Judah have anointed me to be king over them. But Abner, the son of Ner, the commander-in-chief of Saul's army, took Jabes the son of Saul, and brought him up from the camp to Manom, and made him king over the land of Galilee, and over Thesiri, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Jabes, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he reigned over Israel, and he reigned 2 years. But not over the house of Judah, who followed David. And the days which David reigned in Shebron over the house of Judah were 7 years and 6 months. And Abner the son of Ner went forth, and the servants of Jabes the son of Saul, from Manom to Gibeon. And Joab the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David, went forth from Shebron, and met them at the fountain of Gibeon, at the same place, and he sat down by the fountain on this side, and those by the fountain on that side. And Abner said to Joab, Let now the young men arise, and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. And there arose and passed over by number 12 of the children of Benjamin, belonging to Jabes the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they seized every one the head of his neighbor with his hand, and his sword was thrust into the side of his neighbor, and they fall down together. And the name of that place was called the portion of the treacherous ones, which is in Gibeon. And the battle was very severe on that day, and Abner and the men of Israel were worsted before the servants of David. And there were there the 3 sons of Zeruiah, Joab, and Abishai, and Asahel, and Asahel was swift in his feet as a roe in the field. And Asahel followed after Abner, and turned not to go to the right hand or to the left from following Abner. And Abner looked behind him, and said, Art thou Asahel himself? And he said, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thou to the right hand or to the left, and lay hold for thyself on one of the young men, and take to thyself his armor. But Asahel would not turn back from following him. And Abner said yet again to Asahel, Stand aloof from me, lest I smite thee to the ground. And how should I lift up my face to Joab? And what does this mean? Return to Joab thy brother. But he would not stand aloof. And Abner smites him with the hinder end of the spear on the loins, and the spear went out behind him, and he falls there and dies on the spot. And it came to pass that every one that came to the place where Asahel fell and died stood still. And Joab and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down, and they went as far as the hill of Ammon, which is in the front of Gai, by the desert way of Gibeon. And the children of Benjamin who followed Abner gathered themselves together, and they formed themselves into one body, and stood on the top of a hill. And Abner called Joab, and said, Shall the sword devour perpetually? Knowest thou not that it will be bitter at last? How long then wilt thou refuse to tell the people to turn from following our brethren? And Joab said, As the Lord lives, if thou hadst not spoken, even from the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother. And Joab sounded the trumpet, and all the people departed, and did not pursue after Israel, and did not fight any longer. And Abner and his men departed at evening, and went all that night, and crossed over. There with them their 2 sons, Achimaas the son of Sadok, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar, and by them ye shall report to me every word which ye shall hear. So Chuzi the friend of David went into the city, and Absalom was lately gone into Jerusalem. And David passed on a little way from Ros, and, behold, Seba the servant of Mephibosheth came to meet him, and he had a couple of asses laden, and upon them 200 loaves, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 cakes of dates, and a bottle of wine. And the king said to Seba, What meanest thou by these? And Seba said, The asses are for the household of the king to sit upon, and the loaves and the dates are for the young men to eat, and the wine is for them that are faint in the wilderness to drink. And the king said, And where is the son of thy master? And Seba said to the king, Behold, he remains in Jerusalem, for he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore to me the kingdom of my father. And the king said to Seba, Behold, all Mephibosheth's property is thine. And Seba did obeisance and said, My lord, O king, let me find grace in thine eyes. And King David came to Boram, and, behold, there came out from thence a man of the family of the house of Saul, and his name was Shimei the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed as he went, and cast stones at David, and at all the servants of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on the right and left hand of the king. And thus Shimei said when he cursed him, Go out, thou bloody man, and man of sin. The Lord has returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, because thou hast reigned in his stead, and the Lord has given the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son, and, behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. And Absalom the son of Zeruiah said to the king, Why does this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over now and take off his head. And the king said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? Even let him alone, and so let him curse, for the Lord has told him to curse David. And who shall say, Why hast thou done thus? And David said to Absalom and to all his servants, Behold, my son who came forth out of my bowels seeks my life. Still more now may the son of Benjamin, let him curse, because the Lord has told him. If by any means the Lord may look on my affliction, thus shall he return me good for his cursing this day. And David and all the men with him went on the way, and Shimei went by the side of the hill next to him, cursing as he went, and casting stones at him, and sprinkling him with dirt. And the king and all the people with him came away and refreshed themselves there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel went into Jerusalem, and Achitophel with him. And it came to pass when Chuzi the chief friend of David came to Absalom, that Chuzi said to Absalom, Let the king live. And Absalom said to Chuzi, Is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not forth with thy friend? And Chuzi said to Absalom, Nay, but following whom the Lord, and this people, and all Israel have chosen, his will I be, and with him I will dwell. And again, whom shall I serve? Should I not in the presence of his son? As I served in the sight of thy father, so will I be in thy presence. And Absalom said to Achitophel, Deliberate among yourselves concerning what we should do. And Achitophel said to Absalom, Go into thy father's concubines, whom he left to keep his house, and all Israel shall hear that thou hast dishonored thy father, and the hands of all that are with thee shall be strengthened. And they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. And the counsel of Achitophel, which he counseled in former days, was as if one should inquire of the word of God, so was all the counsel of Achitophel both to David and also to Absalom. And Achitophel said to Absalom, Let me now choose out for myself 12,000 men, and I will arise and follow after David this night, and I will come upon him when he is weary and weak-handed, and I will strike him with terror, and all the people with him shall flee, and I will smite the king only of all. And I will bring back all the people to thee, as a bride returns to her husband, only thou seekest the life of one man, and all the people shall have peace. And the saying was right in the eyes of Absalom, and in the eyes of all the elders of Israel. And Absalom said, Call now also Chuzi the Arakite, and let us hear what is in his mouth, even in his also. And Chuzi went in to Absalom, and Absalom spoke to him, saying, After this manner spoke Achitophel, shall we do according to his word? But if not, do thou speak. And Chuzi said to Absalom, This counsel which Achitophel has counseled this one time is not good. And Chuzi said, Thou knowest thy father and his men, that they are very mighty and bitter in their spirit, as a bereaved bear in the field, and as a wild boar in the plain, and thy father is a man of war, and will not give the people rest. For, behold, he is now hidden in one of the hills or in some other place, and it shall come to pass, when he falls upon them at the beginning, that some one will certainly hear, and say, There has been a slaughter among the people that follow after Absalom. Then even he that is strong, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, it shall utterly melt, for all Israel knows that thy father is mighty, and they that are with him are mighty men. For thus I have surely given counsel, that all Israel be generally gathered to thee from Dan even to Bersabee, as the sand that is upon the seashore from multitude, and that thy presence go in the midst of them. And we will come upon him in one of the places where we shall find him, and we will encamp against him, as the dew falls upon the earth, and we will not leave of him and of his men so much as one. And if he shall have taken refuge with his army in a city, then shall all Israel take ropes to that city, and we will draw it even into the river, that there may not be left there even a stone. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, The counsel of Chuzi the Arakite is better than the counsel of Achitophel. For the Lord ordained to disconcert the good counsel of Achitophel, that the Lord might bring all evil upon Absalom. And Chuzi the Arakite said to Sadok and the Abiathar the priests, Thus and thus Achitophel counseled Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counseled. And now send quickly and report to David, saying, Lodge not this night in Areboth of the wilderness, even go and make haste, lest one swallow up the king, and all the people with him. And Jonathan and Achimaaz stood by the well of Rogel, and a maidservant went and reported to them, and they go and tell King David, for they might not be seen to enter into the city. But a young man saw them and told Absalom, and the two went quickly, and entered into the house of a man in Boram, and he had a well in his court, and they went down into it. And a woman took a covering, and spread it over the mouth of the well, and spread out ground corn upon it to dry, and the thing was not known. And the servants of Absalom came to the woman into the house, and said, Where are Achimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman said to them, They are gone a little way beyond the water. And they sought and found them not, and returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass after they were gone, that they came up out of the pit, and went on their way, and reported to King David, and said to David, Arise ye and go quickly over the water, for thus has Achitophel counseled concerning you. And David rose up and all the people with him, and they passed over Jordan till the morning light. There was not one missing who did not pass over Jordan. And Achitophel saw that his counsel was not followed, and he saddled his ass, and rose and departed to his house into his city, and he gave orders to his household, and hanged himself, and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. And David passed over to Mahanaim, and Absalom crossed over Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom appointed Amsai in the room of Joab over the host. And Amsai was the son of a man whose name was Jether of Jezreel. He went in to Abigail the daughter of Nas, the sister of Zeruiah the mother of Joab. And all Israel and Absalom encamped in the land of, saying, Why are ye the last to bring back the king to his house? Whereas the word of all Israel is, Come to the king to his house. Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh, why are ye there? Last to bring back the king to his house. And ye shall say to Amsai, Art thou not my bone and my flesh? And now God do so to me, and more also, if thou shalt not be commander of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah as that of one man, and they sent to the king, saying, Return now, and all thy servants. And the king returned, and came as far as Jordan. And the men of Judah came to Galgala on their way to meet the king, to cause the king to pass over Jordan. And Shimei the son of Gera, the Benjamite, of Boram, hasted and went down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And 1,000 men of Benjamin were with him, and Seba the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons with him, and his 20 servants with him, and they went directly down to Jordan before the king, and they performed the service of bringing the king over, and there went over a ferry boat to remove the household of the king, and to do that which was right in his eyes. And Shimei the son of Gera fell on his face before the king, as he went over Jordan, and said to the king, Let not my lord now impute iniquity, and remember not all the iniquity of thy servant in the day in which my lord went out from Jerusalem, so that the king should mind it. For thy servant knows that I have sinned, and, behold, I am come today before all Israel and the house of Joseph, to go down and meet my lord the king. And Abishai the son of Zeruiah answered and said, Shall not Shimei therefore be put to death, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? And David said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah, that ye as it were lie in wait against me this day? Today no man in Israel shall be put to death, for I know not if I this day reign over Israel. And the king said to Shimei, Thou shalt not die. And the king swore to him. And Mephibosheth the son of Saul's son went down to meet the king, and had not dressed his feet, nor pared his nails, nor shaved himself, neither had he washed his garments, from the day that the king departed, until the day when he arrived in peace. And it came to pass when he went into Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said to him, Why didst thou not go with me, Mephibosheth? And Mephibosheth said to him, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me, for thy servant said to him, Saddle me the ass, and I will ride upon it, and go with the king, for thy servant is lame. And he has dealt deceitfully with thy servant to my lord the king, but my lord the king is as an angel of God, and do thou that which is good in thine eyes. 4. All the house of my father were but as dead men before my lord the king, yet thou hast set thy servant among them that eat at thy table, and what right have I any longer even to cry to the king? And the king said to him, Why speakest thou any longer of thy matters? I have said, Thou and Seba shall divide the land. And Mephibosheth said to the king, Yea, let him take all, since my lord the king has come in peace to his house. And Barzillai the Galadite came down from Rogelim, and crossed over Jordan with the king, that he might conduct the king over Jordan. And Barzillai was a very old man, 80 years old. And he had maintained the king when he dwelt in Manaim, for he was a very great man. And the king said to Barzillai, Thou shalt go over with me, and I will nourish thine old age with me in Jerusalem. And Barzillai said to the king, How many are the days of the years of my life, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old. Can I then distinguish between good and evil? Can thy servant taste any longer what I eat or drink? Can I any longer hear the voice of singing men or singing women? And wherefore shall thy servant any longer be a burden to my lord the king? Thy servant will go a little way over Jordan with the king, and why does the king return me this recompense? Let, I pray thee, thy servant remain, and I will die in my city, by the tomb of my father and of my mother. And, behold, thy servant Camem shall go over with my lord the king, and do thou to him as it seems good in thine eyes. And the king said, Let Camem go over with me, and I will do to him what is good in my sight, and whatsoever thou shalt choose at my hand, I will do for thee. And all the people went over Jordan, and the king went over, and the king kissed Berzeli, and blessed him, and he returned to his place. And the king went over to Galgala, and Camem went over with him, and all the men of Judah went over with the king, and also half the people of Israel. And behold, all the men of Israel came to the king, and said to the king, Why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen thee away, and caused the king and all his house to pass over Jordan, and all the men of David with him? And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, and said, Because the king is near of kin to us. And why were you thus angry concerning this matter? Have we indeed eaten of the king's food? Or has he given us a gift, or has he sent us a portion? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, and said, We have 10 parts in a king, and we are older than you. We have also an interest in David above you. And why have ye thus insulted us? And why was not our advice taken before that of Judah, to bring back our king? And the speech of the men of Judah was sharper than the speech of the men of Israel. And there was a transgressor so called there, and his name was Sabi, a Benjamite, the son of Bochori, and he blew the trumpet, and said, We have no portion in David, neither have we any inheritance in the son of Jesse. To thy tents, O Israel, every one. And all the men of Israel went up from following David after Sabi the son of Bochori, but the men of Judah adhered to their king, from Jordan even to Jerusalem. And David went into his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and he put them in a place of custody, and maintained them, and went not into them, and they were kept living as widows, till the day of their death. And the king said to Amsai, Call to me the men of Judah for 3 days, and do thou be present here. And Amsai went to call Judah, and delayed beyond the time which David appointed him. And David said to Amsai, Now shall Sabi the son of Bochori do us more harm than Absalom. Now then, take thou with thee the servants of thy lord, and follow after him, lest he find for himself strong cities, so will he blind our eyes. And there went out after him Amsai and the men of Joab, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men, and they went out from Jerusalem to pursue after Sabi the son of Bochori. And they were by the great stone that is in Gabaon, and Amsai went in before them, and Joab had upon him a military cloak over his apparel, and over it he was girded with a dagger fastened upon his loins in its scabbard, and the dagger came out, it even came out and fell. And Joab said to Amsai, Art thou in health, my brother? And the right hand of Joab took hold of the beard of Amsai to kiss him. And Amsai observed not the dagger that was in the hand of Joab, and Joab smote him with it on the loins, and his bowels were shed out upon the ground, and he did not repeat the blow, and he died. And Joab and Abishai his brother pursued after Sabi the son of Bochori. And there stood over him one of the servants of Joab, and said, Who is he that is for Joab, and who is on the side of David following Joab? And Amsai was weltering in blood in the midst of the way. And a man saw that all the people stood still, and he removed Amsai out of the path into a field, and he cast a garment upon him, because he saw every one that came to him standing still. And when he was quickly removed from the road, every man of Israel passed after Joab to pursue after Sabi the son of Bochori. And he went through all the tribes of Israel to Abel, and to Bethmaachah, and all in Cherry too were assembled, and followed after him. And they came and besieged him in Abel and Firmicah, and They raised a mound against the city, and it stood close. Galat. And it came to pass, when David came to Manaim, that Usb the son of Nas of Rabbath of the sons of Ammon, and Machir son of Amiel of Lodabar, and Berzeli the Galadite of Rogelim, brought 10 embroidered beds, with double coverings, and 10 cauldrons, and earthenware, and wheat, and barley, and flour, and meal, and beans, and pulse, and honey, and butter, and sheep, and cheeses of kine, and they brought them to David and to his people with him to eat. For one said, The people is faint and hungry and thirsty in the wilderness. And David numbered the people with him, and set over them captains of thousands and captains of hundreds. And David sent away the people, the third part under the hand of Joab, and the third part under the hand of Abessa the son of Zeruiah, the brother of Joab, and the third part under the hand of Ethi the Gittite. And David said to the people, I also will surely go out with you. And they said, Thou shalt not go out, for if we should indeed flee, they will not care for us, and if half of us should die, they will not mind us, for thou art as 10,000 of us, and now it is well that thou shalt be to us an aid to help us in the city. And the king said to them, Whatsoever shall seem good in your eyes I will do. And the king stood by the side of the gate, and all the people went out, by hundreds and by thousands. And the king commanded Joab and Abessa and Ethi, saying, Spare for my sake the young man Absalom. And all the people heard the king charging all the commanders concerning Absalom. And all the people went out into the wood against Israel, and the battle was in the wood of Ephraim. And the people of Israel fell down there before the servants of David, and there was a great slaughter in that day, even 20,000 men. And the battle there was scattered over the face of all the land, and the wood consumed more of the people than the sword consumed among the people in that day. And Absalom went to meet the servants of David, and Absalom was mounted on his mule, and the mule came under the thick boughs of a great oak, and his head was entangled in the oak, and he was suspended between heaven and earth, and the mule passed on from under him. And the man saw it, and reported to Joab, and said, Behold, I saw Absalom hanging in an oak. And Joab said to the man who reported it to him, And, behold, thou didst see him, why didst thou not smite him there to the ground? And I would have given thee 10 pieces of silver, and a girdle. And the man said to Joab, Were I even to receive 1,000 shekels of silver, I would not lift my hand against the king's son, for in our ears the king charged thee and Abessa and Ethi, saying, Take care of the young man Absalom for me, so as to do no harm to his life, and nothing of the matter will be concealed from the king, and thou wilt set thyself against me. And Joab said, I will begin this, I will not thus remain with thee. And Joab took 3 darts in his hand, and thrust them into the heart of Absalom, while he was yet alive in the heart of the oak. And 10 young men that bore Joab's armor compassed Absalom, and smote him and slew him. And Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing Israel, for Joab spared the people. And he took Absalom, and cast him into a great cavern in the wood, into a deep pit, and set up over him a very great heap of stones, and all Israel fled every man to his tent. Now Absalom, while yet alive, had taken and set up for himself the pillar near which he was taken, and set it up so as to have the pillar in the king's dale, for he said he had no son to keep his name in remembrance, and he called the pillar Absalom's hand, until this day. And Achimaas the son of Zadok said, Let me run now and carry glad tidings to the king, for the Lord has delivered him from the hand of his enemies. And Joab said to him, Thou shalt not be a messenger of glad tidings this day, thou shalt bear them another day, but on this day thou shalt bear no tidings, because the king's son is dead. And Joab said to Chuzi, Go, report to the king all that thou hast seen. And Chuzi did obeisance to Joab, and went out. And Achimaas the son of Zadok said again to Joab, Nay, let me also run after Chuzi. And Joab said, Why wouldest thou thus run, my son? Attend, thou hast no tidings for profit if thou go. And he said, Why should I not run? And Joab said to him, Run. And Achimaaz ran along the way of Ketcher, and outran Chuzi. And David was sitting between the two gates, and the watchman went up on the top of the gate of the wall, and lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold a man running alone before him. And the watchman cried out, and reported to the king. And the king said, If he be alone, there are good tidings in his mouth. And the man came and drew near. And the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman cried at the gate, and said, And look, another man running alone. And the king said, He also brings glad tidings. And the watchman said, I see the running of the first as the running of Achimaaz the son of Zadok. And the king said, He is a good man, and will come to report glad tidings. And Achimaaz cried out and said to the king, Peace. And he did obeisance to the king with his face to the ground, and said, Blessed be the Lord thy God, who has delivered up the men that lifted up their hands against my lord the king. And the king said, Is the young man Absalom safe? And Achimaaz said, I saw a great multitude at the time of Joab sending the king's servant, and thy servant, and I knew not what was there. And the king said, Turn aside, stand still here. And he turned aside, and stood. And, behold, Chuzi came up, and said to the king, Let my lord the king hear glad tidings, for the Lord has avenged thee this day upon all them that rose up against thee. And the king said to Chuzi, Is it well with the young man Absalom? And Chuzi said, Let the enemies of my lord the king, and all whosoever have risen up against him for evil, be as that young man. And the king was troubled, and went to the chamber over the gate, and wept. And thus he said as he went, My son Absalom, my son Absalom, would God I had died for thee, even I had died for thee, Absalom, my son, my son. And they brought Joab word, saying, Behold, the king weeps and mourns for Absalom. And the victory was turned that day into mourning to all the people, for the people heard say that day, The king grieves after his son. And the people stole away that day to go into the city, as people steal away when they are ashamed as they flee in the battle. And the king hid his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, My son Absalom, Absalom my son. And Joab went in to the king, into the house, and said, Thou hast this day shamed the faces of all thy servants that have delivered thee this day, and have saved the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and of thy concubines, forasmuch as thou lovest them that hate thee, and hatest them that love thee, and thou hast this day declared that thy princes and thy servants are nothing in thy sight, for I know this day, that if Absalom were alive, and all of us dead today, then it would have been right in thy sight. And now arise, and go forth, and speak comfortably to thy servants, for I have sworn by the Lord, that unless thou wilt go forth today, there shall not a man remain with thee this night, and know for thyself, this thing will indeed be evil to thee beyond all the evil that is come upon thee from thy youth until now. Then the king arose, and sat in the gate, and all the people reported, saying, Behold, the king sits in the gate. And all the people went in before the king to the gate, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. And all the people disputed among all the tribes of Israel, saying, King David delivered us from all our enemies, and he rescued us from the hand of the Philistines, and now he has fled from the land, and from his kingdom, and from Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle, and now why are ye silent about bringing back the king? And the word of all Israel came to the king. And King David sent to Zadok and Abiathar the priests, saying, speak to the elders of Israel, to the wall, and all the people with Joab proposed to throw down the wall. And a wise woman cried from the wall, and said, Hear, hear. Say, I pray ye, to Joab, Draw near hither, and I will speak to him. And he drew nigh to her, and the woman said to him, Art thou Joab? And he said, I am. And she said to him, Hear the words of thy handmaid. And Joab said, I do hear. And she spoke, saying, Of old time they said thus, Surely one was asked in Abel and Dan, whether the faithful in Israel failed in what they purposed, they will surely ask in Abel, even in like manner, whether they have failed. I am a peaceable one of the strong ones in Israel, but thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother city in Israel. Why dost thou seek to ruin the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab answered and said, far be it from me, that I should ruin or destroy. Is not the case thus, that a man of Mount Ephraim, Sebe, son of Bochori by name, has even lifted up his hand against King David? Give him only to me, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said to Joab, Behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. And the woman went in to all the people, and she spoke to all the city in her wisdom. And they took off the head of Sebe the son of Bochori, and took it away and threw it to Joab, and he blew the trumpet, and the people separated from the city away from him, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. And Joab was over all the forces of Israel, and Benaiah the son of Jodi was over the Cherethites, and over the Pelethites. And Adoniram was over the tribute, and Josaphat the son of Achaloth was recorder. And Susa was scribe, and Sadok and Abiathar were priests. Moreover Ieraz the son of Aaron was priest to David. And there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year, and David sought the face of the Lord. And the Lord said, There is guilt upon Saul and his house because of his bloody murder, whereby he slew the Gavanites. And King David called the Gavanites, and said to them, Now the Gavanites are not the children of Israel, but are of the remnant of the Amorite. And the children of Israel had sworn to them, but Saul sought to smite them in his zeal for the children of Israel and Judah. And David said to the Gavanites, What shall I do to you? And wherewithal shall I make atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gavanites said to him, We have no question about silver or gold with Saul and with his house. And there is no man for us to put to death in Israel. And he said, What say ye? Speak, and I will do it for you. And they said to the king, The man who would have made an end of us, and persecuted us, who plotted against us to destroy us, let us utterly destroy him, so that he shall have no standing in all the coasts of Israel. Let one give us 7 men of his sons, and let us hang them up in the sun to the Lord in Gabaon of Saul, as chosen out for the Lord. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth son of Jonathan the son of Saul, because of the oath of the Lord that was between them, even between David and Jonathan the son of Saul. And the king took the 2 sons of Respha the daughter of Aia, whom she bore to Saul, Hermonoi and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal daughter of Saul, whom she bore to Estriel son of Barzillai the Mulathite. And he gave them into the hand of the Gavanites, and they hanged them up to the sun in the mountain before the Lord, and they fell, even the 7 together. Moreover, they were put to death in the days of harvest at the commencement, in the beginning of barley harvest. And Respha the daughter of Aia took sackcloth, and fixed it for herself on the rock in the beginning of barley harvest, until water dropped upon them out of heaven, and she did not suffer the birds of the air to rest upon them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David what Respha the daughter of Aia the concubine of Saul had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul, and the bones of Jonathan his son, from the men of the sons of Jabez Galad, who stole them from the street of Bethsan, for the Philistines set them there in the day in which the Philistines smote Saul in Jelbu. And he carried up thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and gathered the bones of them that had been hanged. And they buried the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and the bones of them that had been hanged, in the land of Benjamin in the hill, in the sepulchre of Cis his father, and they did all things that the king commanded, and after this God hearkened to the prayers of the land. And there was yet war between the Philistines and Israel, and David went down and his servants with him, and they fought with the Philistines, and David went. And Jesphi, who was of the progeny of Rapha, and the head of whose spear was 300 shekels of brass in weight, who also was girt with a club, even he thought to smite David. And Abessa the son of Zeruiah helped him and smote the Philistine, and slew him. Then the men of David swore, saying, Thou shalt not any longer go out with us to battle, and thou shalt not quench the lamp of Israel. And after this there was a battle again with the Philistines in Geth. Then Sebochah the Estatothite slew Seth of the progeny of Rapha. And there was a battle in Ram with the Philistines, and Elinan son of Ariorjim the Bethlehemite slew Goliath the Gittite, and the staff of his spear was as a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Geth, and there was a man of stature, and the fingers of his hands and the toes of his feet were 6 on each, 24 in number, and he also was born to Rapha. And he defied Israel, and Jonathan son of Shimei brother of David smote him. These 4 were born descendants of the giants in Geth, the family of Rapha, and they fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. And David spoke to the Lord the words of this song, in the day in which the Lord rescued him out of the hand of all his enemies, and out of the hand of Saul. And the psalm was thus: O Lord, my rock, and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, he shall be to me my guard, I will trust in him, he is my protector, and the horn of my salvation, my helper, and my sure refuge. Thou shalt save me from the unjust man. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I shall be saved from my enemies. 4. The troubles of death compassed me, the floods of iniquity amazed me, the pangs of death surrounded me, the agonies of death prevented me. When I am afflicted I will call upon the Lord, and will cry to my God, and he shall hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry shall come into his ears. And the earth was troubled and quaked, and the foundations of heaven were confounded and torn asunder, because the Lord was wroth with them. There went up a smoke in his wrath, and fire out of his mouth devours, coals were kindled at it. And he bowed the heavens, and came down, and there was darkness under his feet. And he rode upon the cherubs and did fly, and was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness his hiding place, his tabernacle round about him was the darkness of waters, he condensed it with the clouds of the air. At the brightness before him coals of fire were kindled. The Lord thundered out of heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent forth arrows, and scattered them, and he flashed lightning, and dismayed them. And the channels of the sea were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered, at the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his anger. He sent from above and took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies, from them that hated me, for they were stronger than I. The days of my affliction prevented me, but the Lord was my stay. And he brought me into a wide place, and rescued me, because he delighted in me. And the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, even according to the purity of my hands did he recompense me. Because I kept the ways of the Lord, and did not wickedly depart from my God. For all his judgments and his ordinances were before me, I departed not from them. And I shall be blameless before him, and will keep myself from my iniquity. And the Lord will wreck to the wall, and all the people with Joab proposed to throw down the wall. And a wise woman cried from the wall, and said, Hear, hear. Say, I pray ye, to Joab, Draw near hither, and I will speak to him. And he drew nigh to her, and the woman said to him, Art thou Joab? And he said, I am. And she said to him, Hear the words of thy handmaid. And Joab said, I do hear. And she spoke, saying, Of old time they said thus, Surely one was asked in Abel and Dan, whether the faithful in Israel failed in what they purposed, they will surely ask in Abel, even in like manner, whether they have failed. I am a peaceable one of the strong ones in Israel, but thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother city in Israel. Why dost thou seek to ruin the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab answered and said, far be it from me, that I should ruin or destroy. Is not the case thus, that a man of Mount Ephraim, Sebe, son of Bochori by name, has even lifted up his hand against King David? Give him only to me, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said to Joab, Behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. And the woman went in to all the people, and she spoke to all the city in her wisdom. And they took off the head of Sebe the son of Bochori, and took it away and threw it to Joab, and he blew the trumpet, and the people separated from the city away from him, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. And Joab was over all the forces of Israel, and Benaiah the son of Jodi was over the Cherethites, and over the Pelethites. And Adoniram was over the tribute, and Josaphat the son of Achaloth was recorder. And Susa was scribe, and Sadok and Abiathar were priests. Moreover Iraas the son of Aaron was priest to David. And there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year, and David sought the face of the Lord. And the Lord said, There is guilt upon Saul and his house because of his bloody murder, whereby he slew the Gavanites. And King David called the Gavanites, and said to them, Now the Gavanites are not the children of Israel, but are of the remnant of the Amorite. And the children of Israel had sworn to them, but Saul sought to smite them in his zeal for the children of Israel and Judah. And David said to the Gavanites, What shall I do to you? And wherewithal shall I make atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gavanites said to him, We have no question about silver or gold with Saul and with his house. And there is no man for us to put to death in Israel. And he said, What say ye? Speak, and I will do it for you. And they said to the king, The man who would have made an end of us, and persecuted us, who plotted against us to destroy us, let us utterly destroy him, so that he shall have no standing in all the coasts of Israel. Let one give us 7 men of his sons, and let us hang them up in the sun to the Lord in Gabaon of Saul, as chosen out for the Lord. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth son of Jonathan the son of Saul, because of the oath of the Lord that was between them, even between David and Jonathan the son of Saul. And the king took the 2 sons of Respha the daughter of Aia, whom she bore to Saul, Hermonoi and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal daughter of Saul, whom she bore to Estriel son of Barzillai the Mulathite. And he gave them into the hand of the Gavanites, and they hanged them up to the sun in the mountain before the Lord, and they fell, even the 7 together. Moreover, they were put to death in the days of harvest at the commencement, in the beginning of barley harvest. And Respha the daughter of Aia took sackcloth, and fixed it for herself on the rock in the beginning of barley harvest, until water dropped upon them out of heaven, and she did not suffer the birds of the air to rest upon them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David what Respha the daughter of Aia the concubine of Saul had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul, and the bones of Jonathan his son, from the men of the sons of Jabez Galad, who stole them from the street of Bethsan, for the Philistines set them there in the day in which the Philistines smote Saul in Jilbu. And he carried up thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and gathered the bones of them that had been hanged. And they buried the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and the bones of them that had been hanged, in the land of Benjamin in the hill, in the sepulchre of Cis his father, and they did all things that the king commanded, and after this God hearkened to the prayers of the land. And there was yet war between the Philistines and Israel, and David went down and his servants with him, and they fought with the Philistines, and David went. And Jesphi, who was of the progeny of Rapha, and the head of whose spear was 300 shekels of brass in weight, who also was girt with a club, even he thought to smite David. And Abessa the son of Zeruiah helped him and smote the Philistine, and slew him. Then the men of David swore, saying, Thou shalt not any longer go out with us to battle, and thou shalt not quench the lamp of Israel. And after this there was a battle again with the Philistines in Geth. Then Sebochah the Estatothite slew Seth of the progeny of Rapha. And there was a battle in Ram with the Philistines, and Elinan son of Ariorjim the Bethlehemite slew Goliath the Gittite, and the staff of his spear was as a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Geth, and there was a man of stature, and the fingers of his hands and the toes of his feet were 6 on each, 24 in number, and he also was born to Rapha. And he defied Israel, and Jonathan son of Shimei brother of David smote him. These 4 were born descendants of the giants in Geth, the family of Rapha, and they fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. And David spoke to the Lord the words of this song, in the day in which the Lord rescued him out of the hand of all his enemies, and out of the hand of Saul. And the psalm was thus: O Lord, my rock, and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, he shall be to me my guard, I will trust in him. He is my protector, and the horn of my salvation, my helper, and my sure refuge. Thou shalt save me from the unjust man. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I shall be saved from my enemies. 4. The troubles of death compassed me, the floods of iniquity amazed me, the pangs of death surrounded me, the agonies of death prevented me. When I am afflicted I will call upon the Lord, and will cry to my God, and he shall hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry shall come into his ears. And the earth was troubled and quaked, and the foundations of heaven were confounded and torn asunder, because the Lord was wroth with them. There went up a smoke in his wrath, and fire out of his mouth devours, coals were kindled at it. And he bowed the heavens, and came down, and there was darkness under his feet. And he rode upon the cherubs and did fly, and was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness his hiding place, his tabernacle round about him was the darkness of waters, he condensed it with the clouds of the air. At the brightness before him coals of fire were kindled. The Lord thundered out of heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent forth arrows, and scattered them, and he flashed lightning, and dismayed them. And the channels of the sea were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered, at the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his anger. He sent from above and took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies, from them that hated me, for they were stronger than I. The days of my affliction prevented me, but the Lord was my stay. And he brought me into a wide place, and rescued me, because he delighted in me. And the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, even according to the purity of my hands did he recompense me. Because I kept the ways of the Lord, and did not wickedly depart from my God. For all his judgments and his ordinances were before me, I departed not from them. And I shall be blameless before him, and will keep myself from my iniquity. And the Lord will reckon me according to my righteousness, and according to the purity of my hands in his eyesight. With the holy thou wilt be holy, and with the perfect man thou wilt be perfect, and with the excellent thou wilt be excellent, and with the froward thou wilt be froward. And thou wilt save the poor people, and wilt bring down the eyes of the haughty. For thou, Lord, art my lamp, and the Lord shall shine forth to me in my darkness. For by thee shall I run as a girded man, and by my God shall I leap over a wall. As for the mighty one, his way is blameless, the word of the Lord is strong and tried in the fire. He is a protector to all that put their trust in him. Who is strong, but the Lord? And who will be a creator except our God? It is the mighty one who strengthens me with might, and has prepared my way without fault. He makes my feet like hart's feet, and sets me upon the high places. He teaches my hands to war, and has broken a brazen bow by my arm. And thou hast given me the shield of my salvation, and thy propitious dealing has increased me, so as to make room under me for my going, and my legs did not totter. I will pursue my enemies, and will utterly destroy them, and I will not turn again till I have consumed them. And I will crush them, and they shall not rise, and they shall fall under my feet. And thou shalt strengthen me with power for the war, thou shalt cause them that rise up against me to bow down under me. And thou hast caused mine enemies to flee before me, even them that hated me, and thou hast slain them. They shall cry, and there shall be no helper, to the Lord, but he hearkens not to them. And I ground them as the dust of the earth, I beat them small as the mire of the streets. And thou shalt deliver me from the striving of the peoples, thou shalt keep me to be the head of the Gentiles, a people which I knew not serve me. The strange children feigned obedience to me, they hearkened to me as soon as they heard. The strange children shall be cast away, and shall be overthrown out of their hiding places. The Lord lives, and blessed be my guardian, and my God, my strong keeper, shall be exalted. The Lord who avenges me is strong, chastening the nations under me, and bringing me out from my enemies. And thou shalt set me on high from among those that rise up against me, thou shalt deliver me from the violent man. Therefore will I confess to thee, O Lord, among the Gentiles, and sing to thy name. He magnifies the salvation of his king, and works mercy for his anointed, even for David and for his seed for ever. And these are the last words of David. Faithful is David the son of Jesse, and faithful the man whom the Lord raised up to be the anointed of the God of Jacob, and beautiful are the psalms of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord spoke by me, and his word was upon my tongue. The God of Israel says, a watchman out of Israel spoke to me a parable. I said among men, how will ye strengthen the fear of the anointed? And in the morning light of God, let the sun arise in the morning, from the light of which the Lord passed on, and as it were from the rain of the tender grass upon the earth. For my house is not so with the mighty one, for he has made an everlasting covenant with me. Ready, guarded at every time, for all my salvation and all my desire is, that the wicked should not flourish. All these are as a thorn thrust forth, for they shall not be taken with the hand, and a man shall not labor among them, and one shall have that which is fully armed with iron, and the staff of a spear, and he shall burn them with fire, and they shall be burnt in their shame. These are the names of the mighty men of David. Jebosti the Shannonite is a captain of the third part. Adinon the Asonite, he drew his sword against 800 soldiers at once. And after him, Elinan the son of his uncle, son of Dudi, who was among the 3 mighty men with David, and when he defied the Philistines they were gathered there to war, and the men of Israel went up. He arose and smote the Philistines, until his hand was weary, and his hand clave to the sword, and the Lord wrought a great salvation in that day, and the people rested behind him only to strip the slain. And after him Samiah the son of Asa the Arakite, and the Philistines were gathered to Theria. And there was there a portion of ground full of lentils, and the people fled before the Philistines. And he stood firm in the midst of the portion, and rescued it, and smote the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great deliverance. And 3 out of the 30 went down, and came to Cason to David, to the cave of Adullam, and there was an army of the Philistines, and they encamped in the valley of Rephaim. And David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed, and said, Who will give me water to drink out of the well that is in Bethlehem, by the gate? Now the band of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And the 3 mighty men broke through the host of the Philistines, and drew water out of the well that was in Bethlehem in the gate, and they took it, and brought it to David, and he would not drink it, but poured it out before the Lord. And he said, O Lord, forbid that I should do this, that I should drink of the blood of the men who went at the risk of their lives, and he would not drink it. These things did these 3 mighty men. And Abessa the brother of Joab the son of Zeruiah, he was chief among the 3, and he lifted up his spear against 300 whom he slew, and he had a name among 3. Of those 3 he was most honorable, and he became a chief over them, but he reached not to the first 3. And Beneas the son of Jodi, he was abundant in mighty deeds, from Cape Seal, and he smote the 2 sons of Ariel of Moab, and he went down and smote a lion in the midst of a pit on a snowy day. He smote an Egyptian, a wonderful man, and in the hand of the Egyptian was a spear, as the side of a ladder, and he went down to him with a staff, and snatched the spear from the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. These things did Beneas the son of Jodi, and he had a name among the 3 mighty men. He was honorable among the second 3, but he reached not to the first 3, and David made him his reporter. And these are the names of King David's mighty men. Asael Joab's brother, he was among the 30. Elinan son of Dudi his uncle in Bethlehem. Sema the Redean. Sels the Kelithite. Iras, the son of Isca the Thekoite. Abizer the Anathite, of the sons of the Anathite. Elon the Aoite. Noer the Netophathite. Estai the son of Reba of Gabath, son of Benjamin the Ephrathite. Asmath the Bardiamite. Imesu the Salabonite. Adroi of the Brooks. Gadabeel son of the Arabathiite. The sons of Asan, Jonathan. Samnan the Aradite. Emmen the son of Aritha. Sararite. Elipheleth the son of Aspites, the son of the Makachakite. Eliab the son of Achitophel the Gelonite. Asarai the Carmelite the son of Uriorki. Gaul the son of Nathana. The son of much valor, the son of Galonadi. Eli the Ammonite. Jelor the Betherite, armor. Bearer to Joab, son of Zeruiah. Iras the Ephirite. Jerub the Ethanite. Urias the Chetite, 37. In all. And the Lord caused his anger to burn forth again in Israel, and Satan stirred up David against them, saying, Go, number Israel and Judah. And the king said to Joab commander of the host, who was with him, Go now through all the tribes of Israel and Judah, from Dan even to Bersabee, and number the people, and I will know the number of the people. And Joab said to the king, Now may the Lord add to the people 100-fold as many as they are, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king desire this thing? Nevertheless the word of the king prevailed against Joab and the captains of the host, and Joab and the captains of the host went out before the king to number the people of Israel. And they went over Jordan, and encamped in Aroer, on the right of the city which is in the midst of the valley of Gad and Eleazar. And they came to Galad, and into the land of Thavason, which is Adasai, and they came to Dan and Uden, and compassed Sidon. And they came to Matsar of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Avite and the Shannonite, and they came by the south of Judah to Bersabee. And they compassed the whole land, and they arrived at Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave in the number of the census of the people to the king, and Israel consisted of 800,000 men of might that drew sword, and the men of Judah 500,000 fighting men. And the heart of David smote him after he had numbered the people, and David said to the Lord, I have sinned grievously, O Lord, in what I have now done. Remove, I pray thee, the iniquity of thy servant, for I have been exceedingly foolish. And David rose early in the morning, and the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, the seer, saying, Go, and speak to David, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I bring one of 3 things upon thee, now choose thee one of them, and I will do it to thee. And Gad went in to David, and told him, and said to him, Choose one of these things to befall thee, whether there shall come upon thee for 3 years famine in thy land, or that thou shouldest flee 3 months before thine enemies, and they should pursue thee, or that there should be for 3 days mortality in thy land. Now then decide, and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. And David said to God, On every side I am much straitened, let me fall now into the hands of the Lord, for his compassions are very many, and let me not fall into the hands of man. So David chose for himself the mortality, and they were the days of wheat harvest, and the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from morning till noon, and the plague began among the people, and there died of the people from Dan even to Bersabee 70,000 men. And the angel of the Lord stretched out his hand against Jerusalem to destroy it, and the Lord repented of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed the people, It is enough now, withhold thine hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Ornah the Jebusite. And David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel smiting the people, and he said, Behold, it is I that have done wrong, but these sheep what have they done? Let thy hand, I pray thee, be upon me, and upon my father's house. And Gad came to David in that day, and said to him, Go up, and set up to the Lord an altar in the threshing floor of Ornah the Jebusite. And David went up according to the word of Gad, as the Lord commanded him. And Ornah looked out, and saw the king and his servants coming on before him. And Ornah went forth, and did obeisance to the king with his face to the earth. And Ornah said, Why has my lord the king come to his servant? And David said, To buy of thee the threshing floor, in order to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may be restrained from off the people. And Ornah said to David, Let my lord the king take and offer to the Lord that which is good in his eyes. Behold, here are oxen for a whole burnt offering, and the wheels and furniture of the oxen for wood. Ornah gave all to the king, and Ornah said to the king, The Lord thy God bless thee. And the king said to Ornah, Nay, but I will surely buy it of thee at a fair price, and I will not offer to the Lord my God a whole burnt offering for nothing. So David purchased the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar to the Lord, and offered up whole burnt offerings and peace offerings, and Solomon made an addition to the altar afterwards, for it was little at first. And the Lord hearkened to the land, and the plague was stayed from Israel.